Support for Just Seen It comes from Weaver's Coffee and Tea, makers of hand-roasted artisan coffee and hand-blended tea. Learn more at weaverscoffee.com. Support for Just Seen It comes from Warner Archive Instant, streaming hard-to-find movies and TV shows direct from the studio at warnerarchiveinstant.com. We look back at our favorite films of the first half of 2013. The third chapter in the relationship trilogy, Before Midnight. The real-life tragedy of Fruitvale Station. And the zany sequel to a beloved classic, Monsters University.
Hi, I'm Liz.
I'm Leah.
And I'm David. And we're here today to talk about our favorite movies from the first half of 2013. Mine is Monsters University. How about you guys?
Mine is Before Midnight, and I think there's no movie out there that has the level of honesty and life that this movie has.
Well, my pick thus far is Fruitvale Station. And
Another great pick.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't know. We'll have to see. There's no competition here.
No, there's no competition.
It's always a competition.
So, why don't you start?
My film is the debut feature from Ryan Coogler, an alum for many of us from USC. It is about 22-year-old Oscar Grant, who was killed at the Fruitvale BART station in Oakland in 2008. By structuring it the way that Coogler has done this, it really asks the audience thematically to examine what is the measure of one person's life. Because if we knew that we would not be here 24 hours from now, all of these little quiet, delicate moments that we really don't pay attention to suddenly become magnified because we know how the film ends.
I'm scared.
Scared of what?
I hear guns outside.
Those just firecrackers. You're safe inside with your cousins.
What about you, Daddy?
Me? Maybe I'm gonna be fine.
So, Liz, yours is the third in the trilogy, while mine is in the second in what I hope is a trilogy.
It's the third in a series of films written and directed by Richard Linklater, and actually co-written by Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke, our film's stars. Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke also co-wrote Before Sunset, which is the second in the series.
Right.
And Before Sunrise was the first.
That's the first.
Okay, because that was on TV yesterday, and I started to watch it, but I was like, where does this fit? I don't.
You should watch them all. You should sit them down and watch all
7
of them in
hours.
succession.
Now, wasn't there a lot of time between the first one and now? I mean, when was the first one made?
They were actually, all three of the films are spaced out 9 years apart from each other. So the first film was
they're like
95.
kids. They're like kids in the first one.
Yeah, they're early 20s, and
Wow.
they meet at a chance encounter on a train, and the whole film is discussing about destiny, about whether they were meant to meet, or whether their romance was kismet, or whether they should just part ways. And the second film, they revisit those same ideas, whether they make the right decisions in staying together or being apart. And the third film is a masterpiece. There's a scene in this film where Julie Delpy is half naked, and they have this astounding, honest fight between Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, Celine, and they fight for like 10 to 15 minutes, and it's the most raw fight you've ever seen, and she's topless throughout of it, and it's just this wonderful, stark moment of reality.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciated that. And in addition to that, the film has fantastic long takes and beautiful cinematography and fantastic writing.
Now, did you have an enormous amount of anticipation coming in to see this movie because it's been 9 years since
I liked
the
the
last
first two films, but I wasn't really, I'm not a fangirl for Richard Linklater.
That's what I was asking.
And I went in for this film, and it made me reevaluate the entire series.
Nice.
Interesting.
Fine. Like, I'm the first woman you've ever fell in love with?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't
the
think
first
so.
one I felt truly connected to. Sure, what, I
Okay.
wasn't your first love?
No, of course not.
Oh. No, I thought I was.
No. Jesse, stop
okay.
this.
It's okay.
It's dumb.
It's not a big deal.
No. Okay. How old are you? Come on.
41. I've loved only you.
The reason I picked Monsters University is that you really have to be an amazing storyteller to make me care about cartoon characters. And much as Pixar did in Toy Story 3, where they're all about to go in the incinerator and they all hold hands, and I'm about to burst into tears, there is a scene in this movie that's much like that movie. But let's just say that Sully does something that he thinks is the right thing to do for Mike, and it turns out to be the wrong thing. But his intentions were good, and sometimes that happens. We can do things with the best of intentions and have it blow up in our face. Now, I could nitpick at this movie and go, okay, well, Billy Crystal and John Goodman, they really don't do voice characterizations. They do their own voices, but they're so invested in these characters that it just disappears.
I know you're a princess and I'm just a stable boy.
Mom! What are you doing?
Your grubby paw was in my bed!
Were you kissing my hand?
No. And what about you with all your shedding?
I don't shed.
Really?
And see, I would have never thought that Monsters University could be on par with Monsters, Inc.
They created a new world in Monsters, Inc. It wasn't derivative of anything else that we've seen. But really what Pixar did that was super brilliant was they took a movie that's 12 years later, so everyone that saw it when they were little kids are now in college. So what do? They base the story in college.
I think we've identified 3 winners.
Absolutely. And if you haven't seen these 3 movies, they should be on your must-see list for this summer.
Cheers!
To Monsters University.
Before midnight.
And Fruitvale Station.
My clearly superior choice. Is
Clearly.
that what you're saying? I didn't see Fruitvale, so this is completely unfair, and I'm sure it's amazing.
I think it's great, actually.
Right.
I think it's great because
But
I
Before
haven't
midnight
seen...
is better, is what I'm also, regardless of what.
Support for Just Seen It comes from Weaver's Coffee and Tea, makers of hand-roasted artisan coffee and hand-blended tea. Learn more at weaverscoffee.com. Support for Just Seen It comes from Warner Archive Instant, streaming hard-to-find movies and TV shows direct from the studio at warnerarchiveinstant.com.